You're in the bullpen. You might want to watch where you're stepping. Here's American Shorthorn Association CEO Montie Soules.
Well, we want to welcome you back to the Shorthorn Bull Pen. I'm your host, Montie Soules, and today we have Dr. Troy Rowan with us from the University of Tennessee. And Troy, give us a little history about yourself. Things are happening at UT, University of Tennessee, that I think folks need to hear about.
Yeah. Thanks, Monty. So I'm a Charlotte kid, actually, by birthright, I guess. I grew up in Southwest Iowa, is where home is, and have steadily been moving myself southward to Tennessee. I did my PhD at the University of Missouri, and have been at Tennessee just over 3 years now, I guess. So time flies when you're having fun. But really trying to build a genetics program from the ground up at Tennessee. It's really been missing that for the last few decades, honestly. So we're starting to pick up a little bit of momentum at UT.
You're going to be hosting the BIF conference this year, correct?
Yeah. The Beef Improvement Federation is coming to Knoxville in June. So we'll be there June 10th through the 13th. We've got a really good lineup of speakers for BIF. Focused pretty much on maternal genetics and how we can build a better cow through our genetic selection decisions. So lots of talk about cow efficiency, about heterosis, and about the things that we can do as breeders to make that really solid commercial female that we know makes us profitable. So.
You know, one of the things I didn't realize till I got involved with Dr. Beavers at University of Tennessee after he left Illinois was how many cows do you have? Commercial cows that he has access to, that he does some research work.
Yeah, we've got nearly 1,200 head of cattle spread across the state of Tennessee. 5 of our research stations have cow herds of 200 to 300 cows. We get a really diverse sampling of environments as you go from the far west, right on that Mississippi border, all the way over into far east Tennessee, where those cattle are grazing in the mountains at a little bit of elevation. So it's a unique way to look at a bunch of cows and the microenvironments that make up a big long state in Tennessee.
The area of Tennessee, for those of you that haven't maybe traveled a lot, the cow numbers that we talk about in the U.S., I don't think a lot of people really realize what the Southeast is to cow numbers in our great country. That when you really look, where are they at?
I think if we squish Tennessee and Kentucky together, we'd be the 3rd or 4th biggest cow-calf state in the country. So lots of cows there. We're very good at growing grass. When other parts of the country are getting hit hard by drought, our rainfall's a little bit more steady in that part of the world. We've got fescue, which folks that graze fescue know that fescue's a magic forage and a pain in the butt at the same time, but we can graze over 300 days a year if we manage that fescue correctly, and the people that do that can really stock pretty densely, and that makes us just an optimal place to have cows.
No, it really is. And you're doing some unique things at the University of Tennessee. One of the areas that kind of caught my attention was you're working with bull buyers to what they might be looking at, and what the data, how their eyes hit a page, or what's their priority. So give us a little input on how that research works.
Yeah, so this is a collaborative project between myself in animal science and some folks in our agricultural economics department, namely Dr. Charlie Martinez, who's our farm management specialist, and his background is really focused on trying to understand consumer decisions. He's a cattle person at heart, so when he got to the University of Tennessee, set up this really interesting lab that's focused on trying to understand what pieces of information consumers use when they're making purchasing decisions. And of course, with our interest in cattle, the logical place we went to, both from an educational standpoint and an economic standpoint, is that bull buying decision is so important. Trying to understand what pieces of information our bull buyers are using when they go out and try and make that selection decision, both so as marketers we can put the right pieces of information in front of our buyers, and as educators from the extension side of things, we can direct our folks towards areas where maybe there's a little bit of a deficiency in understanding that we can pick up in that research. The sort of breakdown is we make a mock DV auctions sort of a setup, right? One of those online, you have a video of a bull, you have a ZPD profile. We put those 15 or 20 of those in front of a producer. They go through and basically use their traditional selection metrics, whatever that is. It might just be a visual inspection of the animal. It might be looking really intensely at certain EPDs. But with the technology that Charlie's lab has, it follows people's eyes and can see where exactly on that page they're looking. And that tells us a lot about what pieces of information folks are using ultimately to make those selection decisions. So it's been really, really illuminating seeing where folks are looking and, more importantly, where they're not looking that we should be pointing them towards.
Some of the research that I've looked at from that is you're seeing these indexes are playing a big role, and breeders are paying attention to these indexes, and you even did some changes in your own catalog for your bull sale there at the university to test it, and it worked.
Yeah. So one of the experiments that we ran this past year at the Tennessee Cattlemen's Association convention is we decided that instead of putting our traditional EPDs in the front, so our calving ease direct, birth weight, weaning weight, we flipped the order of the EPDs, put our indexes in front, calving ease and weaning weight at the back. And what we found is that producers, when those indexes were right up front, the first things they looked at, they spent substantially more time looking at indexes and the same amount of time looking at some of those other EPDs than if we put calving ease direct, birth weight, weaning weight right up front. Those are the only three things a lot of times that folks would look at before they made their purchasing decisions. So our ultimate goal, right, is to help producers better understand those indexes and put them right at the forefront, so that's the biggest thing that's going into that decision-making process.
Yeah, and even as I read through the research reports, that American Shorthorn Association probably needs to redesign their pedigrees and put that performance information in a different order from some of the research that you've provided to us.
What we decided is that putting all of the EPDs, some of these associations, right, pushing nearly 30 traits that they have predictions for, which is really valuable, but knowing that those are all integrated into an index, that's really kind of a information overload, I guess, for a commercial producer. So give them the most important points, right? Those indexes that aggregate all those traits, give you a prediction of an animal's profitability, and then some of the other important EPDs, right? So we're still including those longevity EPDs that are very important, calving ease for folks that want to make decisions on a heifer bull, but we're putting most of those other EPDs back in the supplement so that we're not overloading with information and pointing them towards the targeted information that be the most useful for them.
As we look at bull producers and what you're working at, and we're here at the NCBA in Orlando today.
Yep.
You're working on a program this afternoon. You're a moderator
Yep.
for a program, and you talked about this morning that one of the big pushes that we're starting to see, of course, it's old, but it's free and it's new to some people because they've been indoctrined with breed, but crossbreeding. So the advantages of crossbreeding.
Yeah, no, crossbreeding is one of my research and extension programs. Both are very focused on crossbreeding. How do we communicate that and do the things that we know work, right? Heterosis is something we've known about for over 100 years, but still the last sort of USDA survey of cattle producers, less than 50% of commercial operations are utilizing an organized crossbreeding program. So we're leaving a lot of money on the table by not taking advantage of crossbreeding. So today's Cattlemen's College sessions are all really surrounding this idea of rebuilding the cow herd after this drought, after our historic low cow inventory. And a big piece of that is making breeding decisions right now, as we're at a low point in the inventory, that are going to pay off downstream. And the biggest thing, you know this as well as I do, is that maternal cow who's long lived and productive throughout her life. And the easiest way to do that overnight is to integrate an organized crossbreeding program that makes those exceptional maternal females such that you can bring a terminal bull in and cash in on both that maternal and that terminal heterosis that comes from crossbreeding.
Well, and we're here at Shorthorn booth today, so I got to plug Shorthorn a little bit.
Yeah.
But we believe in the maternal aspects of our breed, as all breeds have maternal aspects at the levels. But when you look at what you can do in a crossbreeding program or hybrid vigor on building a base cow herd, the advantages of having that hybrid vigor in a maternal basis is showing some really results. It's not just for terminal crosses.
No, absolutely. And in fact, the unique thing about heterosis is that it's oppositely related with the heritability of a trait. So when we think about our lowly heritable traits like longevity, fertility, those things that are hard for us to make genetic progress on because genetics plays such a small part in them, those are the ones that respond the most to heterosis. So that crossbred female is the most valuable thing that we can generate from a crossbreeding program. She's on average going to stay in a herd for a year longer than a purebred counterpart, and that means you've got a whole nother calf's worth of weaning weight to get out of that cow over the course of her lifetime, in addition to the extra pounds that we can add through a crossbreeding program as well. So when we're making those maternal cows through a crossbreeding program, we really get to double dip in both the direct and maternal heterosis, and I think that Shorthorn and your maternal quality of the cattle that you guys have is really in a position that we can leverage those on some of the other more British-based cows out there.
The science is there. The practice has been for years, but sometimes we forget.
Right.
And we just got to come back and get reminded about those advantages and understand the importance of having a program and a plan, and not just turn them out and let them take care of themselves.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing in the state of Tennessee that I've kind of come up against. I came here and started preaching the crossbreeding gospel right away. But I think that there's this holdover from the 70s and 80s as we were bringing in a lot of the more continental breeds. There was lots of this Bull of the Month Club, right? We're going to breed a little bit to this, a little bit to that. And what you end up with, if you're not doing crossbreeding, like you said, in an organized way with the plan, is mongrelized cattle. And in the Southeast, we got a real reputation for mongrelized, hard-doing cattle that are low input, right? And so as we fix that in a lot of ways, one of the things that we're a little bit more resistant to, I think, sometimes is taking that jump and doing crossbreeding in an organized manner because we think we're going to get punished for it at the sale barn. But if you do crossbreeding with a plan, you're not going to increase variation, right? You're going to reduce it and get a really nice, consistent product.
Yeah, you can start to really breed cattle.
Absolutely.
Just like a seed stock breeder would.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways. Troy's going to come to the Shorthorn Association. We're doing a symposium this summer in July. I think it's 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Yep.
And we got Dr. Rowan coming to do some presentations there. So what kind of things are you going to talk about at that symposium? We've got a great program established. You're just one part of it, but I think we're using you twice.
Yeah. I know for sure we're going to be talking about, Dr. Martinez and I will talk about that research that we've done on bull buying, consumer behavior, and sort of the more practical applications for seed stock producers as you're putting together catalogs, as you're thinking about what information to give your buyers. Hopefully some good prescriptive things that are based in science that will help our seed stock folks become more profitable there, but also understand where their commercial buyers are coming from as well from an educational standpoint.
And we talk about consumer acceptance.
Yeah.
We talk about commercial acceptance. It's really important that we have people, they want to buy a steak and they want to eat some beef.
Yep.
But it's just as important if you're a seed stock producer that they want to buy a Shorthorn bull or they want to buy a bull. And we need to take care of them. We need to know what they want and how to provide it to them at the same time to make it easier for them and get that consumer acceptance as commercial cattle breeders.
Yeah, exactly. And the big thing that Charlie and I always frame our work in this space around is for commercial customers, it's risky to go out and buy a bull no matter what breed, right? You're assuming some risk when you're going out and making a breeding decision there. So knowing what types of information they're using, can we point them towards the things that help them reduce that risk that they're going to buy something that doesn't fit in that overall breeding objective for their herd?
So tell me how hard it is to get somebody to change from doing what they're doing to say, okay, I'm going to use this breed, I'm going to crossbreed, I'm not just going to go the same breed. How hard is it to try to get some people to look at something new?
It's a big change, right? The beef industry, our biggest strength and our biggest weakness is that we're a bunch of multi-generational family operations, right? Lots of little family businesses, and doing things the same way is comfortable, and it's a part of our DNA, really, in the operations DNA. So coming in and flipping a switch overnight is not possible. But I think the more data that we can sort of show, whether we're a breed association, an academic group, an extension group, and support as folks make those changes and alter some of their behaviors, the actions on an operation. I think that's how you drive long-lasting and impactful change. I can go in and tell you to do something, but if I can help you through the process and help you understand how you stay profitable, and being profitable, right, helps that operation keep moving into the future. And that's ultimately what our industry's sustainability is built on. Is how do we keep doing things in the future in an environment where we're getting more and more pushback and it's tougher and tougher to be profitable. So we try and give as many tools as we can and provide support in utilizing those tools. But that's our charge in job security for you and I.
Right. No, that's exactly right. And you know, U of T, University of Tennessee, is really doing some special work. And you know, I think, and just to be really quite honest and frank, you know, we all think about something that's going to be west of the Mississippi when we start thinking about the cattle business, and we think about the universities that's provided us with a lot of information in the past. Well, folks, there's a new kid on the block, and that's the University of Tennessee. You mentioned earlier to me when we were visiting before we started this, there's been a huge changeover in staff and professors. You've got a young, enthusiastic. Elaborate a little bit on your U of T.
I think the foundation of our quality across the state is we still have 95 county extension offices, and I think a lot really starts there.
That means a lot.
That means a lot. There's a front porch on every county that they can go to and see the University of Tennessee. So we're 5.5 hours east of Memphis, but we still have a reach out there in the far western part of the state. And on campus, we've invested in research, we've invested in that extension, and we're growing our animal science department for sure. So it's been a really exciting place to sort of keep building things from the ground up. A great tradition beforehand, right? But I think that, again, we've had some turnover, lots of young folks that are excited about the beef industry in particular, and turning UT into a powerhouse on this side of the Mississippi when it comes to beef cattle genetics and other fields research.
It's there, and you got a pretty good football team and basketball team.
I tell you what, yeah, basketball dropped one this week, but no, we like living in the top five, and Vols fans are quite a bit of fun come football season.
So it's not a bad place to be there and have some fun at the same time.
No, it's not. It's not.
But you know, folks, we got young people, and I'm calling them young because you got to look at me. I'm a little longer in the tooth. But like Dr. Troy Rowan, that's going to lead our industry going forward as part of the University of Tennessee. And you know, this session here is not only to help you, but help you understand where the folks are that can come and help you going forward. And that's what they're there for. The extension that he talked about at the university is so important. As I grew up in a university system at Michigan State, they had a lot of extension. And some schools have had to give it up, and it's not a good thing for our industry. So we really want to thank you, Dr. Rowan, for coming and being with us today. We appreciate everybody watching today, and that's a wrap up today from the Shorthorn Bull Pen.